everybody, it's the interview queen Alicia Atute here, and I'm here to tell you to subscribe to Warriors of Wrestling. Of course, like every video, comment on each one, and turn on the notification bell so you get updated every time they post some awesome new content. I'll see you there.
Warrior Nation, thank you for joining me. It's your main. What are you doing? What are you doing? You see that guy over there looking around? Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm sorry, I was captivated by the voice.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that, brother. Warrior Nation, thank you for joining us. It's your main man, Brian Black, and on the other end there, looking as manly and beautiful as ever, is the voice of Warriors of put your chest down. Is the voice of Warriors of Wrestling, Mr. Shane Fair. What's going on, brother?
Some degree of normalcy. Great to see you eye to eye. Great Brian Black.
Nah, man.
Excellent, man.
Yeah, man. I'm very happy to see you too, man. Seriously, looking like you said, looking good.
I feel like I'm gonna pull a smile muscle. It's like the first sense of wrestling normalcy that I've really had in being able to speak with you here, so I definitely appreciate that, Brian.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. Listen, man, I'm like you. We were talking a little earlier. I miss wrestling. Specifically, I miss the Warrior Nation. I miss everybody, man. So from the little short Buffalo Bills fan known as Joey B to you to Chris Scott and Tony Page, man, I wish everybody the best, bro.
Yeah, same here. It just, when that first month went by that we weren't together, it really was troublesome. Now more time is elapsing, and it's, absence definitely makes the heart grow fonder here at Warrior Nation.
For sure. And that's why we're here, and that's why we wanted to do this, bring this to you, to the Warrior Nation, because, we miss you, we love you, and you guys have supported Warriors of Wrestling for over a decade now, and, we want to stay relevant, number one, but also we want to do something for you. So, hey, you don't forget about us. And then also, so we let you know that you're appreciated and that you guys are missed. And go ahead, sir.
Oh, absolutely, Brian. And Warriors, as you've seen, has been releasing content on the
Correct.
Warriors of Wrestling page, the Women of Warriors page. Every day, that content just keeps pouring out. But that's a great reflection of the past. Of course, we're here today to talk about the present together, and that's, what we want to do for Warrior Nation. While we can't have those matches in the ring at the time, we can at least present you what's going on at Warriors and keep you up to date.
Correct. Now, and then before we move on, actually, I did want to say one little special thing. I wanted to wish you a happy birthday, sir.
Oh, why, thank you.
I bet
Thank
you thought I
very
forgot.
much.
Probably because you don't check your Instagram, but that's okay.
Yeah, Graham, I got to get up on the gram.
So I wanted to say happy birthday to you, and of course,
Thanks very much.
To say take a drink to you and salute many more.
Cheers, salute.
Yes, sir. Clink, 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 clink. Excuse me while I sip, ladies and gentlemen.
Little social distance drinking. Oh, that rum looks good. Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
Gotta be.
Sorry about that.
Love it.
So Warrior Nation, we're dubbing this show Warrior Nation Live. How you feel about that, Shane? That's good?
I like it.
Okay.
That's the working title.
The working title.
The working title.
Working title.
It covers all the bases.
But this is the Warrior Nation talking to the Warrior Nation, if that makes any sense. But this is what we're going with. So it's the Warrior Nation Live with Brian Black and Shane Fair. And, you mentioned it earlier, Shane, we weren't able to be with the Warrior Nation this month. And, we would have been in Staten Island, I believe, at the Fun Station for Hostile Takeover, which is going to be an awesome event. Awesome event. So, like you said, we want to talk a little bit about that, but then also not only talk about the present and what would have been, this month, but also kind of, as we're going along, talk about the future of Warriors of Wrestling, from a company standpoint, also from a talent standpoint. And just kind of shed some light on some things, and also just have some fun while we're at it. If that makes any sense.
Love it.
I know it makes a lot of sense because I'm a sense maker.
Fun is unavoidable when you talk about Warriors, as far as I'm concerned. So a lot of fun there. Many great times in Brooklyn and Staten Island.
Oh, for sure. And
many more to come.
And while we're talking about the present, we don't get the opportunity to always speak, and this. And we hate to dwell on it, but this distancing thing kind of makes you think a little bit about people that you interact with. In my opinion, people that you interact with, whether it be on a daily basis, a monthly basis, maybe your phone pen pals or text pen pals. Remember pen pals?
I do remember the random pen pals. That girl you'd meet on vacation, and you kind of kept up.
Yeah, man.
There's a couple of those.
So
heart sticker letters. Those are fun.
So I two things in saying all of that. One, again, just wanted to thank everybody that's out there on the front lines, whether you're a police officer, a nurse, first responders, believe it or not, a child protective service worker. Okay, they're still out there. That's one thing that I think people forget overlooked. That's one area of work that I think goes overlooked. So there's a lot of men and women still out on the streets, protecting folks, saving lives. So from the bottom of my heart, Brian Black's heart, and of course on behalf of Warriors of Wrestling, we want to say thank you and we appreciate you. Shane, did you want to jump in on that real quick before I start rambling?
Oh no, I thought nothing for them. No, I'm only kidding. Of course,
what a jerk.
Definitely a lot of love for them. Truth be told, without mentioning any names, there's of course people part of the Warriors roster who are on the front lines of this war right now. So they're even more heroic in my eyes than they already were. So you talk about Warriors. These are the true Warriors.
Correct.
The people who, not only in our locker room that we know are out there in the trenches of this war right now, but of course the fans and everybody else. Yeah. This is the ultimate sacrifice we're seeing from a lot of people. True. And the ultimate sacrifice from a lot of people.
Definitely. And the other thing I was going to say was more of a compliment to you as the voice of Warriors of Wrestling. Man, you do an awesome job. I want to thank you for your work and just tell you that, I think you're awesome, and I bet you, man. Brian,
you already know that, my idols in this business, you, Larry Legend, and of course the Fink, man. That's like my holy triumvirate. I love you. The first person to hand the mic to me in the ring, of course, was you, and you've been instrumental to anything I've done. You've been one of the most responsible people for that. And anytime I have a personal question at Warriors where I don't know which way to go, I always come to you. You always got the right answer for me. A lot of people don't see that, but you're not only the person who turned me on and help mold what I am, but you're also like a guiding light in many ways too. So gotta say that,
man. No, man, thank you. No, thank you for the kind words, but man, I appreciate it as well. Mm-hmm. All right, so now that we finished gushing on each other, as real men do, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Warriors. So, like I said, we were going to see a Warriors of Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship title match between the man, Mr. Darius Carter, one of your faves.
He is, truth be told. I gotta say that.
Yeah, he's a pain in my sorry. And of course, he would have been taking on Le Champion. Oh, that's a gimmick. I can't even say. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive me on that. I really like the way that sounds, but I didn't mean it because that would just be so corny of me. So I apologize. But between Darius Carter would have been taking on the Warriors of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, Just Neff. Now these two, for those of you who don't know, first of all, we have to mention Shane. Just Neff has been is stalwart the right word? He has been a staple rather in Warriors of Wrestling for many, many years. And we've seen him develop not only as a person from, a flunky, a lackey, a goon, to a former member of the Hostile Collective, a former tag team champion, if I'm not mistaken, to now being the man in Warriors of Wrestling. So it's been quite a journey for Neff, I must say.
Absolutely. He was on the dark side there, the Hostile Collective, along with Darius and Abdul, and he was kind of like their, like you said, their henchman, their professional, their cleaner, so to speak. But Darius, that strong ego that he has, he couldn't keep the reins on Just Neff, and you see that it's been nothing but success for Just Neff as a solo performer, a solo technician that he is, the connoisseur of counters, as it were. And he has really forged himself. He's left out in the cold after he left AOC. That could have went real bad for him real quick.
Right.
You leave a faction like that. He didn't have any allies to speak of when he first left. Mm-hmm. And he was on his own against these wolves. And he has forged his name all the way to the championship. So that's very impressive.
Yeah, and that's a good term. I want to piggyback on that, being impressive. I have been impressed with Neff over the years, and particularly when, let's not forget that the Hostile Collective turned their back on Neff, beat him down. Okay, he's had some support, little, but some support from guys like Tony Page, in the past, and to this day, actually, they're very tight. But for the most part, Neff has been out here grinding, doing the damn thing by himself. Didn't he? As a matter of fact, didn't he just get a nice victory over Too Cold Scorpio not too long ago in a great little matchup there?
2019. I'm sure this week, or in our doldrums, you might have watched that match with I believe it was Benoit and Too Cold Scorpio has kind of been making the rounds. I think that was
because it was on the documentary. There was like a little clip, if I'm not mistaken,
incredible.
On the
right. And then to get a worldwide success story like Too Cold Scorpio has been around the world. ECW, he's wrestling royalty, and pull out a victory against them and really establish him as champion. Really, because we haven't seen Neff in solos competition really since he's won the belt. We've seen a lot of these mixed tag matches. Can't really get away out of the shadow of Darius since winning the title. But this was the match where we were finally going to see the two of them head to head without any of those extra accessories.
And hopefully TJ Marconi won't get involved this time around. Your boy.
Exactly. What scared me last time, you saw the return of the Crusade for Change moniker on the two gentlemen in the last event. That was scary, but TJ Marconi did also allow that it was one night only. He was very specific that it was for one night only, which is kind of a little more dubious. Right. Maybe, because trying to create that illusion that there is no connection between the two of them.
Yeah. And one only knows what Darius Carter, and TJ really, but Darius Carter has up his sleeve. As we've seen and said, Darius, he can be a little, what's the word? So from my neck of the woods, I'd call him sometimesy. Right? Sometimes he's your friend. Other times he's your enemy. Other times you can trust him. Sometimes you can't. I'm almost surprised that a little surprised rather that he and Abdul Nasir, his running buddy of the Hostile Collective, have been maintained such a tight relationship. I guess it takes one to know one, maybe.
It's true. Maybe honor among thieves or honor among villains, because we've seen a lot of the faces change place in the Hostile Collective. But like you said, the only one constant has always been Abdul Nasir, and you see almost every defense that Carter has, he's involved somehow. We've seen him even being ejected in some of the most recent matches of Darius Carter. Like, he is a hands-on, functioning piece of the Hostile Collective, and always will be.
And like you said earlier, we haven't had the luxury or the privilege to see Neff in solo action defending the title too much since he's won it. Circumstances being what they are partly, but at the same time, he definitely has his feelings about Darius Carter and the Hostile Collective, and I was able to get a word with Just Neff recently, and this is what he had to say.
How you guys doing? It is your Warriors of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, the strategist, Just Neff. Before I get into tonight's thoughts, I wanted to start by thanking all the essential workers and everyone out there making the sacrifices to help others during this time of need and this crisis. Obviously, your efforts are very much needed, but also very much applauded, and the sacrifices you're making are beyond anything we can ever imagine. So thank you again to all the essential workers working out there now. But talking about tonight, if you have not noticed, Warriors of Wrestling, a lot of things got postponed due to the events currently happening. And This month, I was supposed to defend my championship, this heavyweight championship, against Darius Carter, his rematch. See, if you don't know, Darius Carter and I have had a bit of a history for the last couple of years. You see, we were once allies in the Hostile Collective, and when he felt that I was of no longer use, he proceeded to betray me and removed me from the Hostile Collective. And every chance he got, he sought to embarrass me, to disgrace me, to mock me, to belittle me. And thus, with all that, began the hunger that became the title chase, the championship hunger. Not only did I need to become champion, I needed it from him. And so, rewind back to December, and Darius and Carter finally have our championship match, and it was a match. Everything I had went into that, and we both took each other to hell below and everything in between. But as you can tell, I was the one who came out the victor. And since December, I have successfully defended my championship every time that a challenger's been thrown in my way. So, going with that, this month I was supposed to defend my championship, and you can best believe I was looking forward to it. I needed to shut Carter up, and I needed him to know that this title match, that I am no paper champion. I am a champion who deserves what he has because he's earned it. So this month I was going to defend my championship against Carter, and obviously things got postponed, which, when you think about it, is better for Carter because it gives him more time to prepare, because he will need to prepare. The strategist does not just go into a title match with someone he has known so intimately for so long without making sure he's got every game plan in the book prepared. Now, I know that Darius Carter will bring former mentor of mine, the Hostile Collective member, Abdul Nasir, as well as new member, Ultraviolet. But best believe that I'm preparing for those contingencies. I'm not going to let Darius Carter come into my house, and Warriors is now my house. I was born and bred through Warriors of Wrestling. So you're going to come into my house. Leave your junklers at the door, Bobby, because you're not coming into my house to tell me what to do or to try to take my championship. And that goes for him and the behemoth TJ Marconi. I don't care how many pounds you are. I don't care how tall you are. I don't care how much of an army you bring. Because the strategist has arrived.
So, Shane, strong words from Just Neff. Now, as much as you and I both have our opinions about Darius Carter, if I was him, I wouldn't sleep on Neff.
That was a little intense. I really, we know Just Neff is a fierce competitor, but I never realized that the extent, how personally this, obviously it's personal, but I didn't realize the extent of how personal that this rivalry really is with Darius. Yeah.
And one thing I'll say, I'm sorry to cut you off. One thing I'll say, and we'll switch gears on this note, was that I know that Neff is very focused. He loves wrestling. He eats, sleeps, and breathes professional wrestling. Okay, so I know, if I know Neff the way I think I know Neff, the next time he sees Darius Carter, it's going to be all business. It's probably going to be no holds barred. And I just hope that he won't be overtaken by his personal emotions and feelings about Darius Carter so he can focus on the task at hand.
That's a great point. We never have seen Neff this emotional. How does he deal with these emotions? Is he going to channel them into a decisive single victory against Darius Carter? Or, like you say, will he let him get the best of him? And we don't see the best that we can see out of Neff. Right.
So, Shane, switching gears, like I said, one of the most dominant factions in Warriors of Wrestling of late have been the trio of three young men, the group of three young men named Prolific. And consisting of that group, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, the rum punch is very delightful.
It is.
The Warriors of Wrestling No Limits champion, Tyree Taylor and his running mates, Isaiah Wolf, a former No Limits champion, former tag team, multi-time tag team champion, and Marcus Marquis. Shane, they've been pretty much up until recently when Isaiah Wolf and Marcus Marquis dropped the Warriors of Wrestling Tag Team Championships. They were running roughshod over the Warriors of Wrestling roster. What do you think about Prolific, man? What are your thoughts? You see them a little more up close than I do. Even though, by the way, I want to mention, low key, as quiet as it's kept, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I am the fourth member of Prolific. You didn't know that?
I knew it.
Why is it black?
I knew
thing?
it.
Why? Because it's a black thing? Is that what
I think so. Well,
Shane, I'm
all
disappointed
right,
in you. Okay, no, I'm joking. I am not. I am not. I just like to throw that out there.
You're not. Oh,
nah, man. You know, come on, man.
I was excited for you.
I'll thank you. It would have been a good look for me, but the way my bump card is set up, I wouldn't be a good member.
No, mine's already extinct. But yeah, the drip set of W.O.W. Of course, losing those tag team championships at the last event, Brooklyn Beatdown, that was a surprise.
Yes.
However, they're no less the drip set of W.O.W. They're just as threatening with or without the championships. What's interesting about Prolific, now they'll rely on the other members to get their victories, but you also see there's a semblance of just straight ahead fair victories where they just cleanly win. They don't need to rely on the other members for victory. However, they are greater than the parts of the sum. There's three great men who together are just steamrolling through W.O.W. with or without championships. Right. With or without open invitation or whatnot. Especially Tyree Taylor. Look at him. He has taken on all comers. He has made open challenges. He's had opponents provided for him, and they even had a number one contenders tournament to furnish him with the best competition. And he doesn't flinch. He just goes through everyone month after month.
Yeah, Tyree is so dominant, man. Having only recently met him, since he's been at Warriors, I don't know him like I know Isaiah and Marcus, but just I'm honestly especially for his size and his agility, right? Or say the agility for his size, however you want to phrase it. He's amazing in that ring. And I can see why with any competitor, whether recently one of his most recent matches was against Deanna Diaz, whether it be, someone else on one of the other men on the roster, he is a handful, brother. Very he's multifaceted in his style and his technique, and yes, he has had Hall of Fame training. So I mean, he is I would venture to say the total package.
That's a good point.
And then not for nothing, something else you said that was interesting. Yes, while Prolific can function as a unit, but individually, they're very independent. I often see Isaiah Wolf promoting the de facto leader of the group, I would assume, promoting their individualism. Hey, Tyree, you got this on your own. Or Tyree saying to the two of them, nah, I got this. Y'all wait in the back. And then Marcus Marquis going out there, hey guys, I got this. Isaiah Wolf telling Marcus, you got this. It's a brotherhood. I would believe. I haven't been in their little inner circle or anything like that, or any closed door meetings that the three of them have. But you watch them. They they travel together. They eat together. They work out together. And that kind of cohesiveness carries into the ring.
Right, and you usually don't see that without the reliance on the one member or the other. Like you said, the independent nature of all three of these individuals makes them the force that they are. They can function together or they could function apart. It's, you don't see this with a lot of factions. Most factions form because they know that there's safety in numbers. Right. They know that they're going to have that person outside the ring. Maybe it be Abdul Nasir, for instance, who's going to help you bring home that victory. I don't want to. I don't want any smoke. I shouldn't use that as an example. But yeah, these guys, seldom they will rely on each other. They'll get that outside interference. They'll get that chain punch from Tyree, or that lariat behind the ref's back. But they don't need it. They just don't need it.
Right. And and I like how they do complement each other. Right. So you have Tyree Taylor. He's your powerhouse. right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Isaiah Wolf, who is hella athletic, very cunning, right? Has the gift of gab. And then you have Marcus
Awesome.
Marquis, a true wild card. A true wild card. He is also like Isaiah, one of the more athletic members of the Warriors of Wrestling roster, but he also has the size and the power that goes in his package. So each one, they offer a little something different that when they come together, it's magic. It's perfect. What do you see as the future? How far do you think Prolific can go, specifically in Warriors of Wrestling, as a unit? What do you think their ceiling is, Shane?
Obviously they don't need the championships to define themselves. So whatever it's Tyree, I don't see Tyree losing this championship anytime soon.
I agree on that one.
Not taking anything away from Dexter Obsidian. We'll get to that later. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. He's the number one contender for the No Limits title. This just seems like it might be just another road bump for Tyree, and his constant he's just gaining momentum. He's just perpetually steamrolling. I hate to use that word again, but that's the most visual way I can put it. They are steamrolling through the competition, both in the tag team division, both in the singles division. When they do 6-man tag, you're even in more trouble when they're all united.
So let me make sure I heard you correctly. You just said that he was going to steamroll Dexter. Is that what I heard? I believe I heard that.
Oh man!
I mean, Dexter is
And I called him a speed bump too.
I
got a lot more respect for Dexter than that. I wouldn't say he's going to be a speed bump or steamrolled, but he'll definitely, after what he fought through, he's proved himself to be a competitor, and worthy to be in the No Limits division, because of course all the matches in the number one contender tournaments were already fought under No Limits rules, so he's already prepared for that kind of warfare, that kind of combat. So he's proved himself in that element that he can succeed. So, I don't want to call him a speed bump. I take that back. I instantly regret that.
Yeah, you should. Dexter, hey, he said it, not me. Shane, you said it. No, he might
He's
be.
Not here,
no, I hope not. It's for you. So, but
let me know, please.
So the one thing I do appreciate about Dexter Obsidian is that I believe we're still in his rookie year as a professional wrestler, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, time kind of
New breed.
He is part of the new breed. Yes, he is. That seems
reluctant,
to be.
Though.
Speak on it, my brother.
Oh, he's very reluctant, like you've seen in some of his promos, that he doesn't quite want to be associated with them or anyone else. He's like the lone wolf of the new breed. Technically, he is out of that new breed. At the end, Diaz, Mike Harvey, Roger Mendez, that class, and the class that we're still seeing more from, the Abraham Khans. This new breed isn't done. They're still pumping out more talent.
Yeah.
But he is part of the new breed, whether he likes it or not.
Oh, for sure. And not for nothing. It's this new breed, quite frankly, that's going to carry Warriors of Wrestling into the next several decades. If you even look at the talent from the previous decade, right? Jason Cross.
Certainly.
And I just want to say, I'll even say them together, team talent together, as Team Torment, from that previous class. B.A. Kid, who's kind of hanging around. We'll get back to him in a moment. Who else? I'll throw Darius in there. Neff, clearly Neff. A bunch of guys, Now, while these young men, certainly younger than I, are still young in the game, young in their careers, they have been at Warriors of Wrestling for a very long time. And like with any, ladies and gentlemen, with any organization, whether it be I can't even say the name, the big company, the E, right, or another company, whether it be an independent or what have you, there's always change, right? There's always change, and it's your better. I hate to use the word better, but it's your more established companies that can change, that can evolve, and can move into these new eras, if you will, of the industry, or different phases of the industry.
We've seen eras in some of the top companies, which will remain nameless, for the sake of this argument, that they haven't been able to make the transitions, even at those $1 million corporate levels, where they can't transition into the next wave of talent. But Warriors has and is currently still still pumping out more students from the Warriors Training Center that are relevant, extremely relevant.
Correct.
And like you said, the future's safe. There's years and years that these men and women are going to be around.
Correct.
You see the videos from the school. No training center focuses more, in my opinion. I'm sure, I'm not a wrestler, so I can't speak on this where, somebody can certainly argue this point better. But the dedication and the concentrations that's put on conditioning at the Warriors School is unlike some of the others. It seems like some other places I've witnessed where maybe the focus isn't on the right things. At Warriors, it's really, the fundamentals are so hardened in the Warriors Training Center. That's why there is this new breed. It's really a great center to learn the art of professional wrestling.
And it's a great time to be a part of Warriors because there's plenty of opportunity, as we're seeing with one Dexter Obsidian, who, honestly, brother, he will get that No Limits championship title match. We just have to get to the contract signing.
That's true. Now, a contract signing with Prolific in the middle of it, what can go wrong?
What can go wrong?
I'm sure it'll be Now, let me ask you, Brian, the fact that Dexter is a lone wolf, so to speak, the fact that he's even distanced himself from the new breed, does this put him at a serious disadvantage against Prolific, who is so, like we said, they can focus individually, but they are a cohesive team unit. Does this put him at a serious disadvantage going into this match?
Honestly, a little bit, yes. There's strength in numbers, number one. The strength in numbers. So that's always going to be a factor, if not an X factor, is the unknown. Will Isaiah Wolf come out? Will Marcus Marquis, throw the chain into the ring so Tyree can cold cock him, However, I will say this, that Dexter has been, they say iron sharpens iron, right? Or steel sharpens steel, right? And Dexter, as we've seen, had a nice rivalry with Chris Steeler. And when I say nice, I mean that here is this young man, this rookie, taking on a veteran, first of all, a multi-time former world champion, someone who I personally have witnessed to have one of the greatest matches in Warriors of Wrestling history with one Robert Roode, okay, who is light years ahead of the game, technically speaking, right, from a wrestling standpoint, right? And Dexter Obsidian was able to hold his own against Chris Steeler. Not only did he hold his own against Chris Steeler, Shane, he earned Chris Steeler's respect. Okay? So don't even be surprised if that while Dexter is facing this uphill battle against Prolific, maybe he does have some support somewhere in the locker room from somebody. I don't know that to be true. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. But in answer to your question, he's at a little bit of a disadvantage. But what I have seen from Dexter Obsidian is that he has the heart of a lion. Okay? He's tough as nails. Okay? He's a little bit crazy. Little crazy, little touch.
I think so.
There's a little dark side to him that I've seen. I think the Warrior Nation has seen. And honestly, when you have those odds stacked against you, in this case in the form of Prolific, a little bit of crazy can go a very long way. So I hear.
That's a good question.
So that remains to be seen, my friend. Now we just talked about Chris Steeler. We just talked a little bit about people in members of the new breed of Warriors of Wrestling. One of the matches that I was actually looking forward to this month was going to be Mike Harvey versus Chris Steeler.
Right.
Along with this, now before I get ahead of myself, Mike Harvey, who has none other than Warriors of Wrestling legend B.A. Kid in his corner. Shane, again, you're up closer than I these days. Mike Harvey. What are your thoughts about
this guy coming out of the new breed? He does have that lone wolf type aspect about him too, but he doesn't distance himself from the others the way that we've seen Dexter Obsidian separate himself from the new breed. He was on the right path. He had the athleticism. He had everything working for him. But then you throw in a mentor like B.A. Kid. It was like putting rocket fuel in your car. It was, now all of a sudden you have all these years of expertise to draw from. he can, being the mentor of this guy, he's already made the mistakes and made the successes for you, that he can give you that concentrated, detailed, just guidance that he's been giving him. And that's why he's been such a successful mentor. This guy is practically, a Hall of Famer. Warriors, he's one of the greats, one of the best names. So now that you incorporate him with Mike Harvey, it's like you have all that extra wisdom that advances his career in a way that he couldn't just through, ascertaining this information all by himself and, through training in that lone wolf type philosophy. Bringing in B.A. Kidd as a mentor has just really accelerated his career years of knowledge.
Right. And one of the things that I like about Mike Harvey, man, and I told him this is a true story, man. I just walked up to him one day in the locker room, brother, and I'm like, man, you just dripping with swag, man. The swag is just oozing off of this young man.
Effortless swag.
Effortless.
It's not, it's not a facade.
Yeah. It's not Facebook swag. It's not social media swag. It's legit, in person. Unbridled. Hey, I got it. And I do believe that Mike Harvey has a bit of an it factor with him. And it's that quiet cool, like you said, it's that quiet cool, man. And then he can prove it. He can show that he has this swag, when he gets out in the ring, whether, it's him walking to the ring, he comes out of between the curtains, from behind the curtain rather, he's got his back turned, and he looks over his shoulder at the audience, and it's like, yeah.
Oh, you're here too.
Yo, you're here too. I think this is my show, and he just damn near floats to the ring,
I agree.
And at some point, I believe that he knows he has it, but as a young man, a young competitor, you don't know it's that kind of confidence, that total confidence. Some people have it, and I believe he has. I'm gonna say he has 80% of it, right? If I'm reaching, but he hasn't got the 100. In my opinion, he doesn't have the 100% confidence. But I think, again, like you said, him aligning himself with B.A. Kidd is pushing him closer to that 100%. And when he gets that 100%, brother, watch out. Future world champion. I'm saying it. You heard it here first.
So I'm here first. Another feather in the cap of the great training center here.
Oh, for sure.
And the many things that you can learn at the training center, that natural swag, that's something you either got to have or you do not have. That's something that can't be taught. That's not something you get out of a textbook or a drill or anything else. Like, you have to have it or you don't. Like you say, he does, and he exudes that natural swag 100%.
Yeah, man. Sky's the limits for this guy. And, what else can be really said about Chris Steeler, wrestling's true headline? Again, multiple times.
Every accolade at Warriors. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, brother. No, it's all good. He another stalwart, like you said, has had every accolade you can imagine at Warriors. I'm sure a future Warriors of Wrestling Hall of Famer, if you will. Right? He'll be recognized for his contributions to the company forever. You talked about it earlier. Warriors of Wrestling has been posting some of its best matches over the years during, everything that's going on. How many of them were Chris Steeler matches? Or was he involved in, I should say? Many. I didn't count. There's too many to count.
I've been on the receiving end of a lot of Chris Steeler BS, too.
Yes,
I've had to become a tripod for him. I've been insulted. I've been told to hide my face in the ring. I've been assaulted with whipped cream at some other place.
Sounds kind of kinky.
By Chris Steele, almost ruining my tux. So if I'm still talking highly of this guy, it's like, great on the curve. It's got to be, I can't be BS. And the guy's got to be the real deal. And he's one of the most decorated Warriors that's ever been. He's won every single title. He's won every single special event, Ultimate Survival. The guy is one of the most decorated Warriors in the locker room.
Yeah.
So I
was gonna say,
he has that swag too.
Yeah, he does, and like you, I hate to admit it because he's not necessarily been kind to me during my time at Warriors.
Oh.
he has put a couple of notches rather on my bump card.
Oh,
You know, yeah, I'm
kick to
sorry.
the face of our beloved Shady Torres.
You
I
know,
know.
I mean, I want to kick Shady in the face too, so I don't blame him. But you know, Chris Steeler is not necessarily somebody you want to go to happy hour with and have a couple of drinks with. But you know, we're
Oh,
not going to take away from what he has accomplished in the ring.
no.
He's recently defeated the legendary S.A. Rios.
At the end of the night, the headline is still going to read, Wrestling's true headline, Chris Steeler defeats quote-unquote legend S.A. Rios, and I stay the top story because I am the top story yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
He's had other huge victories. Again, I mentioned Bobby Roode from my first show, actually.
Wow.
You know, and he's just that damn good. And you know, would you be surprised if Chris Steeler somehow or another maneuvered his way back into the title picture?
No, you know, he's always on that bubble, just like you said, like Neff before you had mentioned. There's always that bubble where it's like these guys are always just a couple victories from being right on the precipice of that number one contendership. He's somebody that never goes on any kind of slump or losing streak where he's not out of contention. You know, we've always seen the best of Chris Steeler. He's always been, for the most part, victorious in any type of match he's in. So, like, yeah, he could step in and out of title contention. And what's diabolical about him, I don't even know that that's his focus or his goal. You know, I think that's just superfluous, the titles. I think he really just wants to inflict pain on the roster. I think he just wants to humiliate his opponents.
Terrorize.
I think he just wants to keep, he really is like a mental terrorist of the division here in Warriors, you know. And I think that's what he feeds on. He feeds on the fear, he feeds on the loss and the humiliation of his opponents. And it's not really title driven. They're just a byproduct of his veracity.
Speaking of mental terrorists or terrors, I got two words for you, and I just want you to give me your thoughts.
Boy. I'm ready.
Roger Mendez.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, you know, he's been good to me. Like, you know, he's been okay to me, but it's always like the spinning wheel of death. You wonder when it's going to land on you, because anyone that's opposed him has had to face there is no filter. He's going to see the worst things. He gets into his opponent's head, but much like Steeler has that sadistic edge to him, like he wants to say the right combination of words to hurt you and to get inside your head. But it's more than that. He just wants to roast you. He just wants to. He feeds on the humiliation as well. Like, you know, getting in the head, of course, is something, but the humiliation is, again, what this. You might find bedfellows between the two of them. That might be a good tandem in the future. Steeler and Mendez, another good.
He was a guest on his show, if you remember. I mean, you were there at the
That's
Human
correct.
Tripod, so you should know that.
Yeah. Not the good way.
So let me, real quick, let me just backtrack for 1 second. We were talking about Roger Mendez. Ladies and gentlemen at home, for those of you that don't know, Roger Mendez, again, another member, if you will, of the New Breed. He, again, in his rookie season, right, has made waves through controversy, of course, in Warriors of Wrestling. Okay, Roger Mendez, as terrible as he is from a personal standpoint, is a very gifted athlete. He looks like a wrestler. He thinks like a wrestler because he is a wrestler, and a damn good one at that. Okay, you said earlier, Shane. You know, some people have certain gifts, and I'm paraphrasing, but some people have certain gifts that can't be taught. Roger Mendez, besides being a gifted athlete, also has the gift of gab, the gift of the tongue, you know, if you will. And, you know, Mama Black always said, you know, the tongue is sharper than any sword, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, we've seen that particularly with Roger Mendez, particularly as pertains to one of our fallen warriors, Frankie Getz.
You know, Papa Fair once told me.
I love your dad.
The least, thank you. He's awesome.
Tell him I said hello.
the least useful part of an athlete's body is his mouth. However, I think that might not be true in Roger's case because he is that cerebral terrorist, like we said. And like you said, Frankie Getz, you would think that the deceased celebrated member of the Warriors family would be completely off limits. You think that maybe disabled wrestlers that have been in the Warriors talent in the past, you think they would be off limits. You think, families would be off limits. Nothing is off limits to Roger Mendez. This is a kid that, he was the captain of the Curtis High School amateur wrestling. Obviously there's no Curtis High School professional wrestling team. They should work on that though. But no, he has a shoot wrestling background. Mm-hmm. So that's so scary because you have a guy who can run his mouth. And, like you said, he is that, terrorist and, that mental terrorist, but he can back it up. And he can back it up 100% athletically. He's like, a flawless athletic specimen. He's got the pedigree of coming out of an amateur wrestling background, which he completely utilizes in his chain wrestling and everything else. It's a total package, but in not in the positive way, in the negative way where he can rip you apart with his words and he can rip you apart with his moves. You know?
I mean,
it's a very scary thing.
Yeah, I mean, and, Shane, man, as much as we both, appreciate his in-ring prowess, I knew Roger Mendez, and I'm not gonna cuss. I knew he wasn't the sugar, honey, or the iced tea when he insulted C Bunny. I mean, come on, dude.
I know.
The bunny?
I know.
The bunny. The bunny.
That was rough.
Yeah. And I'm not going to repeat, what he said. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if you're going to defame and disrespect C Bunny, who was one of our favorites here, personal favorite of mine, of course, from a personal standpoint, then anyone, there's no one off limits. And that being said, he, like we just discussed, disrespected the person and the family of Frankie Getz. So much to the point, Shane, as quiet as it's kept, Frankie Getz's family was pissed, brother. We had. Go ahead.
I live in the 122 precinct where this guy served. He made an arrest as an undercover, like 10 feet outside my front door one day. And everything like that. This is a guy, who's, served the community visibly. Like, I used to see him on the beat, when he was in, the uniform. I'd see him at 7-Eleven on Highland Boulevard. Then I would, like I said, I saw him undercover making arrests right outside my house. This guy was, a member of the community that we painfully lost. And you would swear that was off limits. And it was like watching a car accident happen in slow motion. You knew that this topic was there, and you hoped Roger was going to avoid it. You thought maybe he would take the high road, but you saw the accident happen right in front of your eyes, and, no topic is off limits. He proved it right there.
Yeah, man.
Anyone can get it, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. I mean, we actually had extra security outside of the fun station for Roger's own protection. It was no joke, brother. And it wasn't just Frankie's family or the community at large that was offended. It was also his former tag team partner, Tony Page. I was, what's the word I'm looking for, blessed to be in the presence, be in the building. I believe you were too, I believe we were in Brooklyn for Tony's first match as a rookie.
Right.
The other privilege I had, which you didn't at the time, was I was able in the house and it was on floating around the Warriors of Wrestling YouTube channel at WOW TV Live somewhere. Tony's first promo after his first victory, his first match, which subsequently was his first
that
victory.
I haven't seen.
Oh, you haven't seen it? It's awesome, man.
No, and that's on the Warriors YouTube?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's very emotional, man, and that's the type of guy he is. Tony has a big heart, the heart of a lion. He's like a little brother to me. He's a pain in the butt, but in a good way. He's fun. And, when we lost his partner, Frankie, that really bothered him. And, I had a conversation with Tony just a couple of months ago, man. And, Roger's actions did not sit well with him. Many people think, oh, it's just wrestling,
Yeah. If it's just wrestling, then why is this kid having to wear a disguise to walk to the bathroom. You know, Roger Mendez, had to walk around in a disguise, like you said, in a building that had extra security for him. You know, like, work, shoot. No, this is reality, man. The threat to Roger Mendez was real because of the horrible words that he let out. You know, and instead of having that, we're gonna have that page. Hopefully, that page and Mendez payoff where they finally just, we've had a taste of it. But, when Page finally gets to hold him accountable fully for the words that he said and the actions that, it's going to be brutal. We're going to see a side of Page that we've never seen, And he's brought out that side. Mendez has brought that side out.
Yeah. And it takes a real class act, and I use that term loosely, to bring that type of frustration, aggression, anger out of a man like Tony Page. Now, speaking of aggression, you're gonna love this. Speaking of aggression, and personal rivalries and personal conflict, I want to talk about team talent for a minute.
Sure.
Jack Gallo and Jason Carrion. Keep calm, Jason Carrion. Former Warriors of Wrestling heavyweight champions, tag team champions. They've done it all pretty much in Warriors of Wrestling and around the world, actually. Now we would have seen them most recently take on Prolific, whom we just talked a little while ago. But they've also had some beef with the Midnight Classics. Your main man, Chris Romano, that's your boy, and First Class, Justin Adams. And before we get going, Jack Gallo had a little message for his friends.
Warriors of Wrestling, this is Jack Gallo here. One half your Warriors of Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Of course, myself and Jason Carrion make up Team Talent. Jason, of course, is not here with me today. He's still out working on the front lines as a firefighter in New York City, so my love goes to my brother Jason while he's out there still working. And I speak for both of us when I say Prolific. Listen, I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed this match didn't happen this month. We were really looking forward to getting into that ring with you guys. Doesn't matter if we like you or we don't. We know how tough you are as competitors. And I knew, and Jason knew, it was going to be a test to see exactly where we are as tag team champions against you guys. And let me tell you, as soon as this is over, we're going to get in there with you guys. And we're going to see who the better team is. And then let's just segue 1 second. Chris Romano, I heard you were running your mouth somewhere about myself and Jason. You know what? Just shut up. You and Justin Adams, just shut your mouths. You always have some kind of complaining to do. You're always running your mouth about something. Let's make it real simple. You guys know where we are. When you're ready, when this is over, come see us. Make this real simple. Whether it is the Midnight Classics, whether it is Prolific, there will be one outcome. Jason Carrion and myself worked very hard to become tag team champions again. And I'm telling you, and everybody else that's watching this right now, there is nobody and nothing that's going to change our championship reign for a very, very long time. Buckle in and get ready. Team Talent 2020 has just begun.
Shane, as you can see, your boy Jack Gallo is fired up, man. He's fired up.
Wow.
I've known Jack. Listen, I've known both Jack and Jason since I've been at Warriors when they were Team Talent, and Jack is very intense. And when he gets worked up like that, like you just kind of saw that he was, man, it's trouble for everybody. I feel sorry. As much as we like Prolific, I feel sorry for those guys. You saw what he did to Justin Adams in that ring.
That's for sure.
Wait, didn't Jason Carrion take Justin Adams' soul just a couple months ago when he laid him out in the ring? Then he do like a little... I forgot what event that was, but I was on commentary actually, and I'm like, is Justin Adams still alive?
He's gone through some rough. That is one tough kid, Justin Adams. Man, I'm going to say kid, but I mean,
he's a grown ass man.
Another year I tacked on yesterday. But Justin Adams. These three teams have taken. I always use this example, but they've taken years off each other's career. Team Talent, Prolific, and the Midnight Classics. If these three teams never crossed each other's paths, I think their careers would probably last 5 or 10 years longer in each case, because the matches that we've had, and now the triple threat tag team action we've seen, the 3-man,
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. And, sometimes you see where a promotion might go to the well one too many times, where they juice a rivalry maybe a little bit more than it has in it. We haven't even gotten to the juice yet. This rivalry between these three teams and this, the height of the tag team division, we don't have an answer yet. The fans still want to see this. They still want to see any combination of these three teams. I want to see it, as a fan. The intensity of this rivalry, there's a lot of juice left. We gotta keep squeezing, because there's a lot more here.
Right, and I will even go on to say, on the record, to say that, with these three teams, this is some of the best tag team action we've seen in Warriors of Wrestling in a very long time.
Absolutely.
Again, Team Talent, they're world class, literally world class. Jason Carrion, besides being a reality TV superstar, he is a wrestling superstar. The guys wrestled all and had championships, on both sides of the Atlantic.
Right. And as Jason Cross, I remember he had a match at Warriors where I believe I want to say it might have been Ultimate Survival. I got to go back to the tapes, but there was a match he was involved with where he separated his shoulder. Ooh. And his shoulder was visibly like hanging down almost like 6 inches. Like, it was like uncomfortable to watch. And Jason Carrion, then Jason Cross, finished the match. Didn't bat an eye would have sent a normal man screaming, calling 911 and tears flying. This guy finished the match with a part of his body hanging like 6 inches lower than it should be. I'm gonna leave that at that. But
no comment.
Incredible. I mean, not only are these guys powerful, they're fast. They could take a beating. Take a beating. So. These three teams are so impressive. It's made, like you said, this tag team division is electrifying. The Warriors.
Now, between the three teams, let's just think ahead, right? If we can, okay. Which we can, because this is America, we can do anything we want, right? Yeah. Forward thinking.
Except go outside.
When the dust settles in this tag team division. Right, with these three main players, right? Prolific, Team Talent, the Midnight Classics. In your opinion, who's going to be left standing on top?
Team Talent, you can take them at what they're worth. Whereas Prolific and the Midnight Classics, when you have that added element, such as Deanna Diaz on the Midnight Classics side, and on the side of Prolific, you have that extra piece of Tyree. You can't have the stability when you have that extra piece involved. Personally, I think. So maybe the Midnight Classics can withstand this. Like three's a crowd. Two's a company, three's a crowd.
Right.
I'm kind of that belief of that philosophy when it comes to factions. When you have that third extra person, it can help you, but can also hinder you, because that's one extra voice that can really, cause dissension among the group. Right. So I would want to say Team Talent, but really, like the Midnight Classics, Justin Adams, he could take a beating with anyone. Chris Romano, he might have his moments in the ring where he's caught off guard, but he's a ring general. Right. This guy's a veteran, So between the two of them, they're two very intelligent ring generals. So, then you got Prolific, with the power, and like you said, each one is so different. And if they can seem to use they've used the Freebird rule in the past when they've incorporated Mr. Grimm as a mercenary and everything. Right. So, maybe the three helps them, like the strength in numbers and their side. But really, I don't know. It's so close to call. That's why we've had a year that we can't determine who's the better team. We've tried it every which way, the three-way tags. We've tried, different pieces, different parts. We can't determine who's the better of these three teams, and that's what makes this division so great.
Yeah. Well said. Well, I don't have an answer. That's why I asked you. It was my cop out. That was my cop out because, like you, it's just so close to call. Fine. It's just so close to call. All three teams are so talented, man, and experienced. At that, and who benefits from all of this is the Warrior Nation.
Hell yeah, as they
Warrior
have
Nation.
over this past year. About 6 months, they've really seen the height of this rivalry, and we're at the height of it now.
Yep.
We're at the height. These three teams, they want that tag team championship gold. That's the only bragging rights that really differentiates any one of these three teams, is who has the belts at that particular time. Who's the Warriors tag team champion? So right now, of course, Team Talent has the last laugh.
And so, in conclusion, that's all we can say to that is, ladies and gentlemen, is to be continued.
Dot, dot, dot.
Dot, dot, dot. Now, you mentioned Deanna Diaz, man. And, as we saw a couple of months ago, pretty much she was running with the Midnight Classics. And the Midnight Classics basically, they dissed her. They were talking crap behind her back. She overheard them, and it's really messed up. Besides the fact that, she's Deanna Diaz, another member of the New Breed, right? I don't know. Is this her rookie year? She seems like she's been around longer than
about 2 years. And don't forget, she won the Frankie Getz Memorial Rumble.
Yes.
Female winning the Frankie Getz Memorial Rumble.
Building the resume,
that was one
my
of the
friend.
shockers of the right.
Yep. So
now you start to assemble that Chris Steeler resume. That's one of the pieces.
Right.
I don't even think Chris Steeler doesn't have that on his resume. So he can't even say that as the most decorated warrior. But again, that's just another boost to Tyree, because after winning that, who did she choose? She could have had any title opportunity she wanted. She could have waited.
Right.
Deanna Diaz picked Tyree Taylor. That was quite a gamble.
Right.
And at the time, with the beefing with the Midnight Classics, it might not have been the best choice, because they kind of may have hindered that a little bit.
Distracted her even.
Unbelievable. That was her choice, though. Where she might not have the victory in that match, she definitely made up for the amount of fortitude that she would actually pick the No Limits champion and fight in the most violent match that Warriors has to offer. That was her choice.
Yeah.
And she held her own for a little bit, but the steamroller kept rolling.
No, she definitely impressed me and the Warrior Nation. And not for nothing, the sky's the limits for her. She can be a little quiet sometimes. She's very steely, and she's to herself a lot, very private. But that me seeing her in that light, I think for the most part, for a lot of people, really kind of changed their opinions about her. She's still human. She may be a wrecking ball, she may be a machine in the ring.
Awesome.
But she's human, and and like I said before, Justin Adams is kind of a jerk.
Definitely. Definitely.
And speaking of which, recently I had a phone conversation with Chris the Man Romano, one half of the Midnight Classics, and he wasn't too happy about my feelings toward Justin Adams. Can you believe that? He had a problem with me.
Really?
Who doesn't like Brian Black?
Making it personal.
I'm making it personal. I mean, he shouldn't be worried about me. He should be worried about getting those damn Warriors of Wrestling Tag Team Championships back. But nonetheless,
that's for sure.
Unbeknownst to him, I recorded that conversation, and this is how it went.
Ooh.
You know something, Brian Black? I used to think you were cool, and then you called Justin Adams a jerk on social media. Not having it. So let me tell you something real quick, Brian Black. In the events that unfolded over, I'd say, a 2 to 3 month period, we got rid of Deanna Diaz because, let's face it, she was just dragging everybody down, the weak link, as they say. And speaking of weak links, okay, Fava, Frat Boy, or Frat Boy Fava, Deanna Diaz, the next time Warriors of Wrestling are able to have an event in Staten Island, you're going to face the Midnight Classics. You might not like what happens, but that's unfortunate, because Deanna Diaz, you know better than anybody else that the Midnight Classics cannot be beat. How does it go again, Deanna? You said it a million times. You can't beat the Classics. Justin Adams and I are well rested. We're well fed. We are well trained. Things that you and Frat Boy Fava, I don't think are. Just because you haven't had the time to be. You guys don't have the experience to be. I'm not taking you lightly. I know everything that you guys can do. Neither is Justin Adams. I know how good the two of you are, especially you, Deanna. But you just can't beat the classics, baby.
Chris Romano's a piece of work, bro.
Well, I'm glad you recorded that for prosperity. We wouldn't have heard about that.
Did you hear this?
It's strange to hear that how the other half lives sometimes.
You know, and you know, not for nothing, you know, granted it wasn't all about me, and I'm not trying to make it about me because it's not about me. It's about the Warriors of Wrestling Tag Team Championships.
There's some smoke there, though.
Hey, look, I don't want the smoke. But if he want the smoke, he know where to find me. At Shane's house.
Dexter isn't here.
But nah, man,
Dexter,
hey, brother, I'm easy to find,
just
man.
watch my back, please.
I got you,
If you
bro.
see anything, say something.
I got you.
Turn around all day now.
You know, I like
Reviews.
Man. You know, I'm easy to find. We can talk it out like gentlemen. You know, like you said, I don't want the smoke, bro. But if we have issues like men, we can sit and discuss it.
That's fair.
But you know who's not going to sit and discuss any smoke that he has, anyone that he has beef with?
Who?
Team Talent and Prolific. They're going to settle their issues in the ring. You know, finally, you know, and one of the interesting matchups we would have seen this month as well would have been a tag team match consisting of your boy Frat Boy Farva, along with Dan and
Awesome,
Diaz,
dude.
taking on the Midnight Classics, as we just spoke about. So I'm looking forward to seeing how, you know, if we get this, if we can bring all this back and get these matchups back going on again, you know, how that kind of shakes out. Frat Boy Farva, another student, I won't say graduate, but another talent coming out of the Warriors of Wrestling Training Center, one of our best, and he recently went toe-to-toe with Tyree Taylor as well, you know, in the losing effort, if I recall correctly. And, you know, I'd be interesting to see how he mixes it up against the Midnight Classics at some point.
Yeah, you know, he's a very intense performer. You know, he earned that match just like Deanna did with Tyree, and again, another stepping stone for Tyree. But he's beloved. He's beloved in the Warrior Nation. He's beloved in the locker room. He's a multifaceted. Frat Boy Farva is a multifaceted talent. You know, whether it's on commentary, we've seen him on you know, he's great on commentary, but he's better in the ring. We want to see him in the ring, and he's just you know, he was hampered by injuries maybe a year or two. That's in the past now. The last match he had at Warriors in Brooklyn, Joe, Sal, myself, we all agreed this was the best match we've ever seen from Frat Boy Farva. This was the most intense we've ever seen. I said it was his best match from since he returned from injury. Well, then I thought about it. I was like, no, this is the best match I've ever seen him have. Right now, Frat Boy Farva is on the top of his game. He is, you know, this is the pinnacle. As far as what we've seen, there might be more, you know, there might be other levels that we still have yet to see.
Sure.
But he's performing on the highest level he has ever performed at Warriors of Wrestling, coming off the best match of his career.
I wonder if he's drinking less to get in tip-top shape. What do you think?
Maybe. You know, now how does that work? He's going to have to, he misses purposely the beer pong shots, because that's going to, among the frat boy the community, they might think less of him. So we still got to kind of maintain that, you know, that pong prowess.
That's true.
Still maybe drink less.
Yeah, I mean, he does make a good rum punch, though. Thanks, Frat Boy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just be careful he doesn't show up with the paddle later. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
No, that's not happening. No.
Yeah, that's all that frat boy stuff, man. I don't know. Some of the... I'm just glad he doesn't have to pledge and go through any of that stuff anymore.
And listen, all I'm going to say is, with a wink and a nod, the Century Club is not for everybody.
Oh.
Now, Shane, we would be remiss if we did not discuss our Warriors of Wrestling Women's Champion. The uber talented... Hey, listen. When I am talking about her, you don't cut me off. Okay?
Oh, no, I was drum rolling.
The uber talented, future Hall of Famer, the legendary, what other else can I say? What other adjective can I use? Trend-setting, groundbreaking, trailblazing, Melina. Did I leave something out?
The Barracuda, the Scream Queen.
Oh, you can do it better. Yes, that's why you get paid the big bucks. The Barracuda. What's the
But you said it. You said it right there. Future Hall of Famer. What promotion can say that they have a future Hall of Famer, not as a figurehead champion, but as a fighting, defending champion, legitimate champion? This isn't, this is for real. This reign is for real. We have the Hall of Famer, Melina, as our champion. It's such a proud thing to say, as a member of, working for Warriors. And it's so cool to tell people, oh, yeah, our champion happens to be Melina. Oh, yeah, that's just for the month. No, it's been for about, it's been since January.
Well, and I'll take it another step further, Shane. And I'm going to preface it by saying this. I've had, which is one of the reasons I'm so grateful. I'm not going to get on a tangent, but I'm very grateful and fortunate to be able to work in the business. All right, it's been 2020. It's been 5 years, right? And I have been able to meet many Hall of Famers, many legendary superstars. And to your point, it is a privilege for the company, for the Warrior Nation, to have Melina as its women's champion. Not only because, she's here on multiple occasions, but she's been rocking with us for several years now, at least since I've been here, maybe even before my 5 years. So I'm going to say at least three to 4 years. I don't remember, my memory is not the best, so I don't remember 2015 too good. But I remember she's been on Warriors of Wrestling on multiple occasions. If I recall correctly, she had the first women's main event, right, with Nikki Adams. Am I correct?
Yes,
in that?
yes.
I believe you were in the audience that night.
Yes, sir.
And so that, again, when I'm talking about legendary, groundbreaking, and trailblazing, this is what we're talking about. Okay, she eats and sleeps Warriors of Wrestling. Okay, you can just check in, cheap plug that we're not getting paid for. You can see her regularly, yes, on NWA, right? And she is doing the damn thing. It's like if you aren't old enough, we're in the age range from the Attitude Era, and the Ruthless Aggression era where we're watching these things firsthand, right? As opposed to seeing a documentary, which is another story, right? But we remember, just between the two of us as fans, watching her, and we're like, oh wow, she's really good. I like her, right? Among other things, I'm sure, but hey, she's really good,
right?
Right. And then we have the privilege to then see her and work with her professionally. And we see now what she does in the ring firsthand. And if you are watching her wrestle at Warriors, on NWA, you can clearly see that Melina is at the top, the tippy top of her game. Like,
right. This isn't a farewell tour. This isn't I just gonna just have longevity just for the for the sake of being persistent. She has longevity because of her talent, not because of her persistence. You'll see a lot of people in this business that last years solely on the sake of persistence, but she is here because of her talent, because of her relevancy. Like you said, it's inconceivable that you can go back and watch things from 15, 20 years ago. And she is just as good now. Melina's just as good now. She's winning championships, like you said, NWA, all these, we've seen her in some of the promotions, around the city. She's winning championships. She has won championships. Not as prestigious maybe as the women's world. We have a world championship, women's world championship at Warriors, which we're also extremely lucky to have. Thanks to Nyla Rose and bringing the championship to Japan, and christening it a world championship. We're not only are we lucky enough to have a women's world championship, we're lucky enough that our women's world champion is a future Hall of Famer. Like you said, that right there is inconceivable to me, and she's relevant. This isn't going through the motions.
Right.
This is a fierce competitor.
Yeah, I mean, it's Warrior Nation again. You are the lucky ones. It's such a privilege to have her, and I hate to sound like and I'm sure somebody's gonna watch this and be like, oh, they're just kissing her butt. Oh my God, they're big marks and okay, God,
Right.
sit down somewhere. Okay, you're never gonna hear Brian Black, disrespect the IWC or any other fans, But if you're talking, if you're over there listening to us and talking crap about us being super marks and stuff like that, no, shut up. That's not the case.
That's for sure.
Having doing what we do. We can, and I can speak for Shane. We are very professional in what we do, and if you have the privilege of ever being in anybody's locker room, they're going to tell you that, hey, we're all fans. Okay, so that's where this is coming from. We're fans first. So yes, we can appreciate, what we're seeing from someone. In this case, we're talking about Melina, but we can appreciate what we're seeing when we get to see it firsthand after having spent so many years, maybe watching them from afar. And that being said, but she has been, Melina, in a pretty intense rivalry with the Ultraviolet, who
Right.
she gets on my nerves. She gets on my nerves about as much as Darius Carter and Chris Steeler combined. But bro, she's damn good.
Yeah, this goes back to when Melina was a guest referee for the matches between Nikki and Ultraviolet. There was always something brewing between them. And then the fact that Melina would emerge to then defeat Ultraviolet and capture the championship, I don't think was on anybody's mind. I don't think that was even a conceivable outcome at any point, even given how talented Melina is. We never knew that she was going to jump in the picture and, capture gold and retain gold. It's just incredible. And, I always speak that it's like a front row seat sometimes, like when you're in a ring, to see Melina do a split under the bottom rope and holding that Warriors Women's Championship is I got to pinch myself. We're really well represented. First to have a women's world championship. There's major companies that call their women's championship a world championship that hasn't even crossed the border. We've seen our
You mean the New York border?
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
The tri-state border.
Sure, exactly. I've seen that.
Yeah.
And I, for one, I won't announce a championship as a world championship. That's just a personal thing I do. Right. I won't announce it as a world championship unless I know that it's been defended overseas. Because it's like I'm adding my, stamp on it as an announcer. Even though I should remove myself, I don't want to announce the title as a world championship. At least I know it's been defended overseas or over borders. And the fact that we have a women's world championship, we have a lot of people know that the No Limits championship is a world championship. Right. We have 3 world championships certified at Warriors, and a lot of promotions don't have one. And we have 3, and we have a Hall of Famer holding one of our world championships. That goes without argument. Right. The 2-time Divas, I might be reversing this. I think she was 2 times Divas champion and 3-time Women's champion. So we're talking 5 championships at a major level. And another world championship to add to her trophy case. Right. This is a future Hall of Famer. It's amazing.
Right, and again, not to take anything away at all from the Ultraviolet, man. I before Ultraviolet we had the privilege rather of having the Ultraviolet at Warriors of Wrestling. I was a fan of hers from afar, from when she was at the other promotion. And I'm going to say, it's my show, our show, rather, we can say names, at House of Glory. And I would watch her promos online. And I was like, oh, man, this girl is great. This girl is awesome. And again, I don't recall seeing a lot of her matches personally. I know you've probably forgotten about more wrestling, seeing stuff in person than I have. And that's a credit to you because, you love the business.
Thank you, sir.
And but I like, so personally for me, right, disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, like one of the things that I like about pro wrestling, other than the athleticism and the flippities and the gimmicks and everything, is I love shit talking. Look, I finally cussed.
Yeah.
I love shit talking. That's twice. So I love watching the promos. That's why I always like The Rock and Hogan and Even as quiet as it kept, I'll play back a Chris Steeler promo, especially when I'm if I'm having the privilege of filming them. So I'm like, damn, Chris really said that. He's crazy. So one of the things I liked about Ultraviolet is her promo work. She's a great talker.
Sure.
And not only is she a great talker, obviously she's good in the ring. So it's been a privilege as well for us to have Ultraviolet here, and again, former Warriors of Wrestling World Women's Champion. Let's not forget.
I know she just went overseas too. Was it Germany or Japan?
Oh gosh,
she was just overseas.
But she's all over the place, and that's the thing. When we talk about
Sure.
top level talent, Warriors of Wrestling having top level talent, global talent, worldwide superstars like a Sunny Kiss, like a Ultraviolet, like a Melina, like a Brian Black and Shane Fair, it doesn't get any better than that. So, I am still looking forward to the rivalry continuing between the Ultraviolet and Melina. It's
definitely.
It's almost like if you check Instagram, refers to you as a Padawan. I know Melina, like Nikki Adams, was a fan of Melina from back in the day. And they looked up to her, idolized her in some respects. So not only is it personal for Ultraviolet in terms of, hey, I want a championship back, but this is also, and I haven't spoken to her, but this also has to be an honor for her to have this rivalry. She'll never admit it, right?
No.
Openly, I'm sure.
It's weakness.
Correct. And I'm sure that's the type of person she is, no disrespect, of course. But she has to, she definitely, I'm sure, appreciates the moment that she's having with Melina and has something to prove to Melina.
Oh, the master becomes the mentor type situation where, she can eclipse, like I said this again, the feather in the cap, but this is like the feather in the cap. You defeat a Hall of Famer, world champion, and reclaim the title that you lost. It exercises the demon of that loss, that she's still probably affected by, and then to beat your idol and take the championship back, that just is a total, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like just a total clearance of just all the negative baggage that she might have acquired from that loss and losing the championship to Melina, to beat your idol, ascertain that title once again. That really would be a good liquidation, is the word I was looking for. That would really just, it's a liquidation of all that negativity that she might have been feeling these last few months after the loss.
And then not for nothing, she has said some things about Melina, in her promos, the last several weeks rather. So, I am still hoping that we would have that the Warrior Nation would have the privilege of seeing Melina and the Ultraviolet mixing it up in a steel cage for said Warriors of Wrestling World's Women's Championship. Tongue twister. So I'm hoping we still get that. But either way, whether it's in the cage, whether it's a street fight, whether it's no holds barred, whether it's in Shane's basement, when these two mix it up, Shane, I guarantee you it's going to be incredible. It's going to be one that the fans will remember for a long time, and I will venture to say that it's going to be one of Warriors of Wrestling's greatest matches.
Oh, definitely. When they say like absence makes the heart grow fonder, I think absence in this rivalry makes the rivalry more hate-filled and intense.
Correct.
The more time that passes, the more that these two women are going to want to really go at each other and prove themselves. Especially now, it's like an out-of-the-gate situation where it's like it's going to be that first event back for a lot of people.
Right.
This is going to be the first wrestling they've seen live in months. So both of these women know that, and they want to be the victor in front of these, this very receptive crowd that we're no doubt going to have that first time back for this. And like you said, whether it's in a cage, whether it's just a one-on-one match, no matter what type of match we get, we're going to get the best quality match no matter what. They're going to give 110%, no matter what type of match. If they're playing Go Fish in the middle of the ring, you ooh and ah and, lose your mind. So...
Oh no, I agree, my friend, and again, the Warrior Nation will be the winners in all of this, and the women's division, no matter who is champion, the women's division with the departure of Nikki Adams is wide open, and I know Melina will accept as long as she's champion, and Ultraviolet if she ever regains the title, will be receptive and open to any challengers, except for you.
All right, I'm back.
All right, cool. All right, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, Shane, I appreciate you joining the Warrior Nation for this, man. This has been fun, and I'm glad we're finally able to do this, man.
Oh, thank you, Brian. Anytime I get to collaborate in any of you, I'm glowing, man. You're the man who handed me my first microphone in his business, and that was literal and figurative, and I love you, Brian. I just hope you stay healthy throughout this, and I can't wait to see you and all the Warrior Nation again. And it's going to be emotional. It's going to be emotional when we're finally all together again, and it's going to be a celebration of the sport and the promotion we love. And you better believe Brian, I, and everybody in that locker room is going to bring, 200% on that night, because we're going to want to pour it out.
Word. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, keep your eyes peeled to the Warriors of Wrestling webpage at warriorsofwrestling.com for future updates in terms of when we will be back, what's going on with the Warrior Nation, with the locker room. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter at WOW Pro Wrestling. You can follow us on Instagram at Warriors of Wrestling. And I am missing one other, YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is WOW TV Live. That's LIVE. Looks like live, but it's live. But again, WOW TV Live, where we have over 150,000 subscribers. Can you believe that?
That's nice. That's a silver play button, at least, isn't it?
We did get some award. Is that what it's called? Silver play?
Very nice. For
the 100,000 mark. So, join in, see what you're missing. You'll see me on there. You'll see Shane on there. You might actually see the little guy that's a Buffalo Bills fan. You know his name. And, all of the other members of the Warriors of Wrestling locker room, as well as promos, classic matches, and updates, again, more importantly. So please do that. You can follow Shane. I'm going to toss it to you in a second. Put yourself over. You can follow me, if you like, on Twitter and Instagram. I have the same handle for both at B_skills. That's SKILLZ. Shane, what's your info there?
Twitter is at Shane Karma. You'll find me on Instagram at World's Fair Productions, and just my shoot name, Shane Fair, on Facebook. Shoot me a friend request.
All right, don't send him a friend request. He's not friendly. That's not true. No, Shane's the man.
You'll get awful pics in the middle of the night. No, I'm kidding. You won't.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, please don't forget to first of all, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, even if you didn't, still share it. I know you did, because we love you, the Warrior Nation. I know you love us. So share this page, share this video. Again, subscribe to all of our social media, and God willing, we will see you soon. Everyone stay safe. To all of those, again, on the front line, thank you. And Warrior Nation, it's been a privilege. I'm sure Shane and I will do this again soon, pending ownership approval. And again, it's been fun. So Warrior Nation, continue to make noise. And I'm your main man, Brian Black. This young man over here, Shane Fair, the voice of Warriors of Wrestling. And we are out.
Hey, playa, this is the Josh Speaks, and you're watching Warriors of Wrestling, the best independent wrestling company across the entire country. So hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you can know whenever they post a new wrestling video. As always, love and peace.